Please marry my mom, human. She's all I have left, begged the alien child. Elias stood on the small observation deck, looking at the endless stretch of darkness dotted with tiny points of light. His job was simple: help refugees from other planets adjust to human settlements. But tonight, he felt a nervous flutter in his chest. Something told him this assignment would be different. The door slid open with a soft hiss and a small figure floated in. Elias froze, unsure how to react. The being was small, no taller than a child, but her appearance was unlike anything he had ever seen. Her skin shimmered faintly, like moonlight reflecting on water. 4 eyes, all sparkling in shades of green and blue, stared at him. A faint glow ran along her small hands, which clutched a pendant that pulsed like a heartbeat. I am called Lyra," the small voice said. It was soft but carried weight. "Please marry my mom, she's all I have left." Elias blinked, unsure if he had heard correctly. "Excuse me?" His voice came out uneven. He tried to stay calm, but his mind raced. The child tilted her head. "Please, human, marry my mother. If she remains alone, I will be taken away." Elias took a step back. Behind Lyra stood her mother, tall and delicate. She looked tired, her eyes carrying stories of pain that could fill 1,000 pages. Her long, silver hair seemed to float as if weightless. She gave a small, embarrassed nod. "It's true," she said softly. "I never wanted to ask for this, but my daughter, she has lost so much. She needs family. I cannot raise her alone in this world." Elias' heart ached. He had dealt with refugees before, humans and aliens alike. He had seen loss, sadness, and fear, but something about Lyra's direct, urgent plea made him feel the weight of responsibility immediately. He wanted to step back, but he could not ignore the little being standing before him. Her 4 eyes looked at him with a mixture of hope and desperation. He took a deep breath. "I don't know what to say," he admitted. "This isn't normal at all." Lyra shook her head. "Normal does not matter. Survival matters. If I am taken away, I will be alone." "She will be alone. Please, human, help us." Her words were simple yet heavy. Elias felt a lump in his throat. He glanced at the mother. She avoided his eyes as if ashamed to ask for such a thing. He could see her fear, not of him, but of losing her child again. Elias sank into a chair, running a hand over his face. He had spent years helping beings from other planets, but this was different. He was not just offering help. He was being asked to become part of a family, for someone else, for a child who had lost so much. "Can you explain more?" he asked finally. "I need to understand. What do you mean by marriage, and why me?" The mother took a step closer to Lyra and placed her hand gently on the child's shoulder. "In her world," she said, "marriage is a bond. It is not just love, it is protection. It ensures that we stay together as family. If someone chooses not to bond, they can be separated. Lyra is special, and she needs a stable family to grow safely. That is why she asked." Lyra nodded vigorously. "I cannot survive alone." She cannot survive alone, but together we can be safe. Elias leaned back. He had heard of alien survival customs, but nothing prepared him for this. "So you're asking me to marry your mother so that your family stays together?" "Yes," Lyra said simply. "Please." The words hung in the air. The silence pressed against Elias' chest like a weight. He thought of his own life, empty apartment, empty nights, quiet walks through streets that seemed to echo his loneliness. He had a choice: run or step forward. And somehow, deep inside, he felt he wanted to step forward. "I don't know if I can do this," he said slowly. I've never been in a situation like this before." "You don't have to understand everything," the mother said softly. "You only need to show up." "That is all." Elias studied Lyra. She looked at him with such innocence and trust that it made his chest tighten. There was no manipulation in her eyes, only a desperate hope. He wanted to run. He wanted to say no. But he could not ignore the feeling in his heart that whispered, "You can help them. You can protect them." He began, then stopped. He swallowed. "I will try, but I cannot promise forever. I can promise to show up, to be here for both of you." The mother's eyes softened, and Lyra's small hands gripped his coat. "That is what marriage means," Lyra said, her voice glowing like the pendant she held. The small act, simple yet full of trust, shook something inside Elias. He realized that his life had been empty not because he was alone, but because he had never truly been needed. And now, these two beings, human and alien, needed him more than anything. Days passed. Elias began adjusting to the strange life of living with Lyra and her mother. The apartment was small, but it felt alive for the first time. Lyra explored every corner, fascinated by human objects. The light switches, the taps, even the refrigerator. She asked endless questions about simple things. Why humans sleep, why food tastes different, why rain feels cold. Elias found himself smiling, laughing at her curiosity. He began teaching her little things, how to tie shoelaces, how to write letters, how to draw simple shapes. She was a quick learner, absorbing everything like a sponge. At night, he would watch her sleep. The faint glow of her skin made her look like a tiny star floating under the blankets. He remembered the words she had said, "If I am taken away, we will be alone." The thought of her being separated from her mother was unbearable. Elias knew then that his decision had been right. The mother, too, began to open up. She cooked small meals, explained customs from her world, and shared stories of Lyra's early life, stories that made Elias feel he was witnessing something magical, something precious. He began to see her not just as a mother, but as a brave, kind woman who had survived unimaginable loss. One evening, as they sat together, Elias felt a quiet moment of peace. Lyra leaned against him, her 4 eyes blinking slowly. "Thank you," she whispered, "for staying." Elias felt a lump rise in his throat. He nodded. "We stay together," he said simply. And in that moment he meant it not just as words, but as a promise. The days passed quietly, but the calm was fragile. Elias, Lyra, and her mother had begun settling into a routine, but the universe rarely allowed peace for long. One morning, a sharp alarm sounded across the city. The sky seemed to shimmer, and a soft hum vibrated through the ground. Lyra froze, her 4 eyes widening. Elias instinctively stepped in front of her while her mother's face turned pale. "They found us," she whispered. "Found us?" Elias asked, confusion and fear pressing on him at once. "Who?" "The council," Lyra said. Her voice trembled slightly. "They are the ones who enforce survival bonds for my species. If my mother is not bonded officially, I will be taken away. They can arrive at any moment." Elias swallowed hard. He had not expected the consequences of agreeing to stay with them. But the urgency in Lyra's voice left no room for hesitation. "We need to leave," Elias said quickly. "We can hide somewhere until we figure this out." Her mother shook her head. "Hiding will not work. The council can sense where we are. They can locate us no matter what." She looked at Elias with eyes full of worry. "We must face them, but we need a plan." Elias nodded. "Then let's make one." That afternoon, they prepared to meet the council. Lyra's mother explained the rules of her species' bonding system. "The council will judge whether a bond is genuine. They will test us, all 3 of us. If they find any reason to doubt, Lyra will be taken. We cannot let that happen." Elias' mind raced. He had no experience with alien councils or interstellar law, but he realized he had a new role now: protector, guide, and temporary family. They entered a small chamber that appeared in the center of the city's plaza. The space shimmered, a dome of translucent energy glowing faintly. Inside, several beings stood, their forms strange and elegant, each radiating authority. Their eyes, some human-like, others not, watched Elias and the 2 women carefully. "Lyra," a deep, melodic voice said. "You have requested that a human bond with your mother. Explain." Lyra stepped forward, holding Elias' hand. "This human," she said, "is willing to stay. He will protect us. He is here because he cares. I do not want to be taken away from my mother." The council murmured among themselves. The glowing light on their forms pulsed like a heartbeat. One stepped forward, taller than the others. Its voice was calm but firm. "And you, human, are you aware of the responsibility you request to undertake?" Elias nodded, trying to hide the fear in his chest. "I am. I will do my best. I will protect them, and I will stay with them." The council's eyes seemed to pierce him, testing the sincerity of his words. Lyra's mother stepped forward as well. "He is genuine. He has chosen to stay to help us. That is all we ask." A long silence followed. Then the tallest being spoke again. "We will test the bond. This is not a matter of choice alone. It is a matter of survival. If the bond is weak, the child will be reassigned." Elias felt a cold weight settle in his stomach. What kind of test?" he asked, his voice trembling slightly. The council's form shimmered and changed into a large mirror-like surface. Lyra's eyes widened in fear. "It will show our hearts," she whispered. "Our feelings, our intentions. We cannot hide anything." The chamber filled with a soft, glowing light. Elias saw images form inside the mirror. Memories, thoughts, and emotions floated around them. Elias felt them pressing on him, revealing every doubt, every fear, every hope. He could see his own life laid bare, the loneliness, the quiet nights, the longing for connection. Then he saw Lyra, her memories of loss, of her home destroyed, of family taken away. Her mother facing impossible choices, protecting her at every moment. Elias' heart tightened. He realized the depth of what he had agreed to. This was no longer about protection, it was about trust, love, and commitment. The council murmured. The human shows sincerity, his heart is open. And you, one of them said, turning to Lyra's mother, you demonstrate patience and courage, your bond is strong. Elias exhaled, feeling the tension leave his shoulders. Lyra clung to him, her tiny hands gripping his coat. The council's light dimmed and the chamber returned to normal. You may proceed, the tallest being said finally. The bond is accepted, but remember this, a bond is not static. It must be nurtured, protected, and strengthened. Fail in your duties and consequences will follow. Lyra smiled, a bright, innocent glow spreading across her face. Thank you, she said. Thank you, human, and thank you, mother. Elias bent down and ruffled her hair. We're a team, he said softly. We stay together. The next days were different. The bond the council had recognized was not a certificate or a signature, it was real. Elias found himself thinking of Lyra and her mother constantly. He wanted to make their life comfortable, safe, and happy. Lyra learned faster than he imagined. She began understanding human ways, laughing at little jokes, asking endless questions about Earth, life, and the stars. Elias enjoyed teaching her, but he also learned from her. She had a way of seeing the world that was pure, curious, and unafraid. Her mother began working on a project, something she had started on her home planet but had abandoned when they fled. With Elias' help, they recreated it. The room they set up became their little laboratory, filled with glowing instruments, books, and sketches of stars. One evening, as Elias worked on a small device, Lyra ran to him, holding her pendant in her hands. Look, she said, eyes shining. The pendant's light changed color, reflecting her excitement. I made it respond to my emotions, see. When I am happy, it glows blue. When I am scared, red, and when I feel safe, green. Elias laughed softly, lifting her up. That's amazing, Lyra, you're brilliant. Her mother smiled from across the room. She inherited curiosity from both of us, she said. Life felt normal, yet different. Every day had purpose. Every night had warmth. Elias began noticing little things, Lyra's laugh echoing through the apartment, her mother humming softly as she worked, the quiet comfort of having people who depended on him and loved him in return. But challenges were never far. The city had other aliens and humans who were curious, sometimes suspicious. One day, a neighbor, a tall being with long limbs and pale silver skin, knocked on their door. Elias answered, cautious. You are living with her, the neighbor said, looking at Lyra and her mother. Do you understand the rules? Bonding outside proper procedure is forbidden. The council has warned all humans. Elias felt his stomach tight. The council has approved us, he said firmly. The neighbor raised an eyebrow, skeptical. We will see. The council watches all. The door closed, leaving a tense silence. Lyra's mother exhaled deeply. Some will never understand, she said. We must stay careful. Elias nodded. He realized that protecting them went beyond their home. He would need to watch, plan, and ensure no one interfered with their small family. Days passed. Lyra grew stronger, happier, and more confident. She began helping with small tasks, learning to cook, clean, and even operate small devices. Elias admired her resilience. Despite everything she had lost, she had never given up. One evening they sat together on the balcony. The city lights twinkled below, and the stars above stretched endlessly. Lyra leaned against Elias, her small body warm and reassuring. Do you think the council will ever take me? She asked softly. Elias shook his head. Not if we stay together. We will protect each other. No one can take you if we are careful. Her mother placed a hand on Elias' shoulder. You have become more than a protector. You are part of our family now, and that is stronger than any rule or law. Elias felt a warmth in his chest. He had never imagined life could be like this. From a quiet, lonely existence, he had stepped into a family, an adventure, and a responsibility he cherished. As night fell, Lyra's pendant glowed softly in green, the color of safety. Elias realized something important. Love and trust were not just feelings, they were actions. Every day he stayed, every small moment he shared with them, strengthened the bond they had created. And he knew, no matter what challenges lay ahead, they would face them together. The days grew warmer, and the city seemed quieter than usual. Elias had begun to feel comfortable with Lyra and her mother. They had created a small home together, a routine that made the apartment feel alive with laughter, light, and curiosity. But one morning, the peaceful air was broken by an urgent message transmitted directly into their small communication device. Lyra's species is in danger, the voice said, calm but firm. The Council has discovered an anomaly in the northern star cluster. Immediate action is required. Lyra froze, her 4 eyes widening. Elias put a hand on her small shoulder. What does that mean? He asked. It means, her mother said, voice tight with worry, that something is threatening our home world. If we do not act, more of her people may be lost. We must go. Elias swallowed. He had expected challenges on Earth, but interstellar emergencies were new to him. Still, he could not turn away. This family had become everything to him. Then we go together, he said firmly. Preparations began quickly. Lyra packed her small belongings carefully, making sure her pendant was safely secured. Her mother brought technical equipment needed to communicate with their home systems and navigate the northern star cluster. Elias helped, realizing he had learned more about alien technology in a few weeks than he ever thought possible. By evening, they had left the city, traveling in a small starship her mother had kept hidden. The hum of the engines was comforting, almost like a heartbeat, as they soared beyond the atmosphere. Lyra pressed her small face against the window, watching stars streak by. Do you think we can really help? She asked softly. Elias bent down to her level. We have to try, he said. Together we can face anything. Her mother smiled faintly, grateful for his courage. The Council trusts Lyra to act wisely, and we trust you, human. That is why you are part of this journey. The journey was long, and the stars passed slowly. Elias had time to think, to understand the depth of the bond they shared. Lyra leaned against him, occasionally asking questions about human life, Earth, and the small details of his past. He told her stories, careful to keep them simple and comforting. She listened eagerly, her glowing skin flickering in blue, the color she used when curious and happy. But the peace of the journey did not last. Halfway through, the ship's sensors detected a strange energy signature ahead. What is that? Elias asked, unease rising in his voice. It is a ripple, Lyra's mother said, her voice tight. Some force is interfering with the natural flow of the star cluster. We must approach with caution. Elias nodded, gripping the edge of the control panel. The ship slowed as they approached the anomaly. The stars seemed to twist and shimmer unnaturally. Lyra pressed her hands against the glass, staring at the swirling colors. It's beautiful, she whispered, but dangerous. Suddenly, the ship shook violently. Red alarms blared and the lights flickered. Elias held onto the panel as the small ship was pulled slightly off course. What's happening? He shouted. Gravity flux, her mother yelled. The anomaly is creating a strong pull. We must stabilize. Elias followed her instructions carefully, pressing buttons and adjusting the controls. The ship groaned as they navigated through the swirling energy. Lyra clutched her pendant, which glowed bright red, the color she used when scared. Elias reached out, holding her hand. We're okay, he said, though his own fear was strong. We're together. After tense moments, they emerged from the anomaly. The stars returned to their normal positions and the alarms stopped. Lyra exhaled, relief shining in her eyes. That was close, Elias said, smiling weakly. Too close, her mother nodded. We are safe for now, but the source of this ripple is ahead. That is where we must act. The ship descended toward a small planet glowing faintly with golden light. That is the source, her mother said. The energy here is unstable. It could destroy any ship that approaches without caution. Elias looked at the planet, awe-filling him. The light reflected off the surface of the ship, making the walls glow softly. Lyra pressed herself against the window again, mesmerized. Can we really fix it? She asked. Elias nodded, though he felt the weight of the responsibility. We can try, and if we stay together, I believe we will succeed. Landing was difficult. The planet's surface was uneven, and the glowing light made it hard to judge distances. Elias and Lyra's mother worked together, guiding the ship carefully. Lyra, curious as always, watched their every move. The ship finally touched the ground with a soft thud. They stepped out onto the planet. The air was breathable, though strange and warm. Golden light bathed the landscape, and small crystals grew from the ground like plants. Elias marveled at the beauty, but he remembered the danger they had come to face. This way, Lyra's mother said, leading them toward a crystalline structure in the distance. Energy pulses ran along its surface, creating small sparks. The anomaly is coming from inside. We must stabilize the energy core. Elias followed, careful with each step. Lyra ran ahead briefly, examining crystals that hummed when touched. Her small hands glowed in blue as she experimented, fascinated by the unusual environment. Inside the crystalline structure, the energy was overwhelming. Pulses of light and heat ran through the walls. Lyra's mother activated her equipment, beginning calculations to stabilize the energy. Elias assisted, holding wires, adjusting instruments, and following instructions. "This is amazing," Elias said quietly. "I've never seen anything like this." Lyra giggled. "Everything is amazing. Look at this crystal. It sings when I touch it." Her mother smiled, focused on her work. "We must concentrate. The energy is unstable. A single mistake could create a ripple back through the star cluster." Hours passed. Elias worked tirelessly, sometimes unsure if he was helping at all. But he did not leave. Lyra stayed close, occasionally assisting with small tasks and always offering encouragement. Her laughter and curiosity made the tense environment lighter. Finally, the energy pulses began to stabilize. The crystal's light softened and the strange hum diminished. Elias looked at Lyra and her mother, exhaustion and relief visible on all their faces. "It's working," her mother said softly. "The anomaly is under control." Lyra jumped in joy. "We did it, we really did it." She ran to Elias, hugging him tightly. "Thank you for helping us, I knew you would stay." Elias smiled, feeling warmth spread through his chest. "We stayed together," he said, echoing the words they had promised each other. "And together we succeeded." They returned to the ship as the sun of the planet began to set. Golden light reflected off the crystals, creating a rainbow of colors across the ship. Lyra's pendant glowed green, safe and calm once again. Elias looked at her, feeling a sense of pride and love that was hard to describe. Back on the journey home, the three of them sat together in quiet satisfaction. Elias thought about everything they had faced: the council, the anomaly, the danger, and the unknown. And he realized something important. No matter what challenges lay ahead, they could face them as a family. Lyra leaned against him, her small form glowing softly in the dim light. "Do you think there will be more adventures?" she asked. Elias smiled, ruffling her hair. "I'm sure there will be, but whatever comes, we face it together." Her mother reached out, taking his hand. "You have become part of our family, Elias. That bond is stronger than any challenge, and I am grateful for your courage and care." Elias felt a deep sense of belonging he had never experienced before. From a lonely, quiet life on Earth, he had stepped into something extraordinary, a family that needed him, trusted him, and loved him. As the stars passed by outside the ship's window, Elias realized that life would never be the same. And he didn't want it to be. With Lyra and her mother by his side, he was ready for whatever the universe had in store. Together, they were unstoppable. The calm after the anomaly's stabilization lasted only a few days. Elias, Lyra, and her mother had returned to their small home in the city, enjoying a quiet routine. Lyra played with her glowing pendant, exploring the apartment and asking questions about Earth, while her mother worked on translating star charts from their home planet. Elias felt comfortable, a sense of family settling deep in his heart, but peace was fragile. One evening, as the golden sun dipped below the horizon, the ship's communication device buzzed violently. The screen lit up with a message in alien script. Lyra's mother read it quickly, her face tightening. "It's from the northern quadrant," she said softly. "A new threat has been detected, something darker than the anomaly we faced before. It's moving toward inhabited star systems, including the one Lyra comes from." Lyra's 4 eyes widened in fear. "Will it hurt anyone?" she whispered. Elias kneeled to her level. "We won't let it," he said firmly. "We'll stop it together." Her mother nodded, turning to Elias. "We must act quickly. This is bigger than the previous challenge. We will need every bit of skill and courage we have." Preparations began immediately. The small apartment became a command center. Maps, devices, and charts were spread across tables, while Lyra studied everything intently, her small hands tracing star routes and energy fields. "You are learning fast," Elias said, impressed. "I have to," Lyra replied, her eyes serious. "We need to save my people, and we need to stay together." The next morning, they boarded their ship again. Elias took the controls, guiding them through the familiar hum of space. Lyra's mother analyzed data, plotting a course to intercept the dark force. Lyra stayed close, her glowing pendant lighting the cabin as she helped monitor sensors. Hours passed, the stars stretching endlessly outside the windows. Finally, they reached the edge of the danger zone. A shadow moved across the starfield, a swirling mass of dark energy that seemed to absorb light itself. The ship's instruments warned of instability, but Elias pressed forward, determined to face it. "This is bigger than anything we have faced," Elias said, gripping the controls. "We need a plan," her mother nodded. "The core of this dark energy can be neutralized, but it is unstable. One wrong move and it could spread across the star cluster. We must work carefully." Lyra's eyes glowed bright blue, the color she used when she was focused. "I can help," she said. "I can touch the energy. My pendant can stabilize small parts." Elias looked at her, a mixture of worry and admiration in his eyes. "It's dangerous," he said. "Are you sure?" Lyra nodded. "We're a team. We stay together." Her mother smiled. "She is right, but we will take precautions. Elias, you handle navigation and controls. I will stabilize the energy core. Lyra, you help in small bursts. Together, we can do this." The ship moved closer to the dark mass. It pulsed and twisted like a living shadow, absorbing light and energy. Sensors flashed warnings, and the hum of the engines grew louder. Elias' hands were steady, but his heart raced. "Get ready," her mother said. "I will open the field." "Lyra, follow my instructions carefully." The dark energy twisted violently as they approached. Lyra held her pendant tightly, her small form glowing in soft light. Elias could see her concentration, the way her eyes focused on the swirling mass. "Now, Elias," her mother said. "Hold steady. Lyra, touch the left edge of the core." Lyra moved carefully, placing her small glowing hand near the dark mass. The pendant reacted instantly, sending a soft green light into the shadow. It pulsed once, twice, stabilizing a small section. "It works," Elias exclaimed, relief in his voice. Her mother nodded, adjusting her instruments. "Good, keep it steady. Now the right edge." Lyra moved carefully, and again the pendant glowed, stabilizing the energy. But suddenly a spike of dark force lashed out. Elias yelped as the ship rocked violently. "Hold it, hold it!" he shouted, gripping the controls. The shadow pulsed angrily, sensing resistance. Lyra's hands glowed red for a moment, the color she used when scared. Elias reached out, holding her small hands. "You're not alone," he said. "We're together, you can do this." Her mother's voice rang clear. "Focus on the core, the center must be neutralized, I will guide you." Lyra took a deep breath. Slowly, her hands glowed green again, sending waves of light into the dark energy. The shadow shrieked, twisting violently, but the combined effort of the three of them began to stabilize the mass. Elias adjusted the ship's position, keeping it steady despite the powerful forces pushing against them. His heart raced, but he felt a strange calm knowing they were all working together. Minutes felt like hours. The dark energy pulsed one final time, then began to shrink, collapsing into a soft glow that slowly faded. The shadow was gone. Silence returned, broken only by the soft hum of the ship. Lyra collapsed against Elias, exhausted but glowing softly with happiness. "We did it," she whispered. Elias smiled, hugging her tightly. "Yes, we did, together." Her mother exhaled, her hands shaking slightly from the strain. "You were both incredible. I could not have done this without you." The journey home was quiet but filled with a new warmth. The bond between them had grown stronger, tested not just by danger but by trust, courage, and teamwork. Back in the city, they stepped out of the ship, greeted by familiar streets and lights. Lyra skipped ahead, her glowing hands tracing shapes in the air as she laughed. Elias and her mother followed, smiling at the sight of her joy. That night they sat on the balcony, watching the stars. Lyra's pendant glowed softly green, a symbol of safety and love. "Do you think the dark energy will come back?" Lyra asked, eyes wide. Elias shook his head. "I hope not, but if it does, we'll face it together. Nothing can break our bond." Her mother took Elias' hand. "You have become more than a protector. You are family, and family stands together no matter what." Lyra leaned against Elias, her small body warm and trusting. "I love our family," she said softly. Elias felt a lump in his throat. "I love it too," he said, "and I love both of you." The stars above seemed to shine brighter that night, reflecting the warmth and trust that filled their home. Elias realized that the universe was vast, full of unknown dangers, but also full of hope. And with Lyra and her mother by his side, he knew they could face anything. As they watched the sky, Lyra's mother whispered, "The universe is full of challenges, but also full of beauty. We have learned that together we can overcome anything, and our bond is stronger than any force out there." Elias nodded, feeling the truth of her words deep in his heart. "We will protect each other," he said. "Always," Lyra smiled, glowing softly. "Always," she echoed. And so, under the stars, the small family sat together, ready for whatever adventures awaited them. The bond they had forged was unbreakable, and their hearts were full of courage, love, and hope. No matter what the universe held, they knew they could face it. Together, the calm after the dark energy's defeat was a brief respite. Elias, Lyra, and her mother had settled back into their small city apartment, but the pull of the stars remained. Lyra's home planet had suffered great loss, and though she was safe now, her heart yearned to return and see it again. "We need to go," Lyra said one morning, her 4 eyes glowing softly. "I want to see my home. I want to know it is safe." Elias looked at her mother. She nodded slowly. "It is time, but the journey will not be easy. Many sectors are still unstable and the path is long. We must prepare carefully." Elias felt a mix of excitement and nervousness. He had learned so much about alien life, energy, and the bonds of family, yet traveling to another planet, especially one damaged by cosmic events, was daunting. But when he looked at Lyra, her excitement shining through, he knew there was no turning back. Preparations took days. Supplies were packed, charts analyzed, and instruments checked. Lyra helped eagerly, her small hands glowing as she assisted with energy devices and navigation tools. Elias admired her curiosity and resilience, noting how much she had grown since they first met. Finally, they boarded the ship. The engines hummed steadily, carrying them through the quiet stretches of space. Stars streaked past as they traveled faster than anything Elias had imagined. Lyra pressed her face to the window, watching familiar constellations pass. "Do you think my home will still be there?" she asked softly, a hint of worry in her voice. Elias knelt beside her. "We'll find out together, and whatever we see, we'll face it as a family." Her mother smiled, checking instruments. "The northern sector has been quiet since we stabilized the anomaly, but we must stay alert. Cosmic forces are unpredictable." Hours passed, then days. They navigated asteroid belts, cosmic storms, and strange gravitational fields. Each challenge strengthened their teamwork and trust. Elias guided the ship with precision, Lyra assisted with her pendant's energy readings, and her mother monitored every possible threat. Together, they were unstoppable. Finally, the silhouette of Lyra's home planet appeared in the distance. Its surface shimmered faintly, golden and green under the light of a nearby star. Elias felt a thrill. This was the first time he had seen a planet beyond maps and charts. "It's beautiful," Lyra whispered, her eyes wide with wonder. "I thought I might never see it again." Her mother nodded. "It is still strong. The core survived the cosmic storms, but many areas will need rebuilding. That is why we are here." The ship descended carefully, landing near a crystalline city that had survived the storms. The structures sparkled like glass, their energy harmonizing with the natural flow of the planet. Lyra's eyes glowed brightly as she took in the sight. "Home," she breathed. They stepped out onto the surface. Elias felt the warmth of the planet's energy, different from Earth, soothing yet powerful. Lyra ran ahead, her small hands glowing as she touched the crystals, sending waves of energy pulsing gently across the ground. Her mother followed, monitoring the city's energy grids. "The main core is stable," she said, "but some areas will need repair. Elias, your help may be required in ways you did not expect." Elias nodded. "I will do my best." The first challenge appeared quickly. A section of the city's energy conduit had collapsed, its flow unstable. Crystalline towers shook, threatening to fall. Elias moved carefully, following instructions from Lyra's mother. Lyra assisted by sending controlled pulses of energy from her pendant to stabilize smaller crystals. Together, they worked to prevent further damage. "Steady," Elias said, adjusting support beams. "We can do this." Lyra nodded, concentrating. Her glow shifted between green and blue as she managed the delicate energy flows. Elias felt pride swelling in his chest. She was not just a child. She was brave, strong, and clever. Hours passed as they repaired the main conduits, stabilized towers, and restored energy to vital areas. The golden light of the planet reflected off Elias' hair and Lyra's glowing hands, creating a surreal scene of teamwork and resilience. Finally, the energy stabilized completely. The city hummed with life again, safe and vibrant. Lyra ran to Elias, hugging him tightly. "We did it," she exclaimed. Elias laughed softly, lifting her up. "Yes, we did, together." Her mother's eyes were filled with pride and relief. "You have proven yourself human," she said. "Not just in skill, but in heart, you are truly part of our family." Lyra beamed, glowing softly in green. "We are a family." she said simply, and families always help each other. After the initial repairs, they explored the planet. Elias marveled at the beauty, forests of glowing trees, rivers of liquid light, and creatures that shimmered like stars. Lyra laughed, chasing small energy creatures that danced around her hands, while her mother explained their customs and history. "This is where I grew up," Lyra said softly, eyes reflecting memories of happier times. "Even after everything, it is still beautiful." Elias reached for her hand. "And now we are here together, that makes it even better." As they wandered deeper into the city, they discovered areas damaged by the cosmic storms. Crystals were broken, energy lines cracked, and some buildings had collapsed. Lyra's mother directed Elias to help with structural repairs, while she guided Lyra in stabilizing the energy flows. Together, they rebuilt parts of the city, careful and precise. Elias felt a sense of purpose he had never experienced before. Every action mattered, every small repair saved energy, life, and hope. Lyra's small hands glowed steadily, her confidence growing with each success. At night, they gathered on a platform overlooking the city. The crystals reflected the light of the planet's twin moons, creating a scene of magical beauty. Elias, Lyra, and her mother sat together, exhausted but content. "Look at it," Lyra whispered. "All the city is alive again. We helped it survive." Her mother smiled. "You helped more than anyone could imagine. Elias, you have become part of our story. Our family is stronger because of you." Elias felt a warmth spread through his chest. He had come from Earth, a place of routine and loneliness, and now he was part of a family helping restore a planet. "I could never have imagined this," he said, "but I wouldn't change it for anything." Lyra leaned against him. "I am glad you stayed. You are my family now." "And family always stays together." Elias smiled, holding her close. "Always," he echoed. As they rested under the twin moons, Elias realized that the universe was vast and filled with challenges, but also with beauty and wonder. He had learned courage, trust, and the power of family. With Lyra and her mother, he had found something far more precious than safety or comfort. He had found belonging. The next morning, they continued exploring the planet, discovering hidden gardens, energy springs, and safe places for Lyra's species to rebuild. Each discovery brought laughter, learning, and teamwork. Elias learned about the delicate balance of energy on the planet, while Lyra's mother shared stories of generations past. Lyra absorbed everything, her curiosity insatiable. Days turned into weeks. Slowly, the city began to recover, its energy humming steadily, stronger than ever. Lyra's people, those who survived the storms, began returning to their homes, guided by the restored energy grids. Lyra smiled as she saw families reunited, her small hands glowing with joy. "You did it," her mother said to Elias. "We could not have done this without you." Elias shook his head. "We did it together, that is what family means." Lyra ran ahead, touching the restored crystals, her glow reflecting happiness and hope. Elias watched her, realizing that this was just the beginning. The universe was wide, full of mysteries and adventures, but whatever challenges came, they would face them together. That night under the twin moons, Elias, Lyra, and her mother sat together, their hearts full of trust, courage, and love. The bond they had forged was stronger than any cosmic threat, any dark energy, or any unknown danger. They were a family, and that was stronger than anything the universe could throw at them. The stars above shimmered, reflecting the light of their family. And for the first time, Elias felt truly at home, not on Earth, but among the stars with Lyra and her mother by his side. Together, they were ready for anything.